First up this noon hour, another chat with Clayton Miller's mother, Maureen. A couple of new developments this week to discuss. First, Justice Minister Mark Fury has stepped aside from any role in the Miller case because of an apparent conflict of interest. Lena Diab has been named the acting minister on the Miller file. And PC interim party leader Carla McFarland said this week if she was Justice Minister, she would reopen the case into the 1990 death of 17-year-old Clayton Miller, a death his family believes was linked to New Waterford Police. And Maureen Miller joins me on the phone here this afternoon. Maureen, good afternoon once more.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing today?
I'm not doing too bad.
Good. Well, your thoughts on, first off, Mark Fury's decision to step aside because of a conflict of interest. Apparently his father was an investigator in the original death of Clayton, and he has left it now to Lena Diab to deal with all things Clayton Miller related, and you have requested, your family's requested, along with your lawyer, a meeting with her now.
Definitely. And pertaining to Mark Fury became the Justice Minister in June of last year. Our press conference was in July, and just months later, he got in front of a camera and said that there's been multiple investigations, there's been a fatality inquiry, and he closed the case. From what I understand, he should have informed the media then that he was in a conflict and should have stepped aside then. Why did he wait so long?
Yeah, that's what Carla McFarland is asking as well. She thinks he's done the right thing by stepping aside, but she said, why now? Why not sooner? And again, you asked the same question.
Exactly. You know, and why now? And we wouldn't even know this, only for a reporter going in the government's website and seeing this, and that it was Lena Diab that was taking over Clayton's case. Only for that, we probably still wouldn't know.
So nobody informed you of this?
Nobody informed us, no.
What do you think of that?
Well, it's not surprising because after Ron MacDonald and Dr. Bose were finished and sent in their reports, we never heard from Lena Diab after that saying the case was closed either. So it seems like they want to keep their distance from us.
Yeah, I think they just want this to go away, but you're not going to let that happen, are you?
No, we aren't. Definitely not. We didn't, like, it's coming on to 28 years. As you know, well, Brian McDonald, for example, the gentleman that was the coroner for search and rescue. Ron MacDonald, last October, got in front of a TV camera and stated that he contacted search and rescue to find out that there was a search done the end of May for an elderly man in his 80s that was lost. And when our lawyer, Ray Wagner, contacted search and rescue to find out about the search, a search for Clayton being done, he was told by search and rescue that they don't have files back that far. Now, there's a reporter you're probably familiar with her, Mary Ellen McIntyre. She used to work for the Chronicle Herald.
Yep.
She is now writing the book about Clayton's case. And with Mary Ellen, Brian MacDonald agreed to do an interview with her. Ron MacDonald had said that that Brian MacDonald is unreliable, he's elderly, and that he's not well. Well, to begin with, Brian MacDonald is only in his mid to late 60s. I wouldn't call that elderly. The illness that he had nothing to do with his mental capacities. He had cancer of the bowel. And from what I understand, he's doing okay.
What about Carla McFarland and her comments, the interim leader and the justice critic for the Progressive Conservative Party, says if she were the justice minister, she'd reopen the file into Clayton's death. Did you see this coming at all? And obviously, it helps to have her support too here.
It most definitely does. And with her, she's been following the case even before she even got involved with politics. So to hear what she has to say, well, I know there was other information that was sent to her yesterday by Steve McNenally, who did the books with me and is helping with Clayton's case, to fill her in on more that she probably doesn't know.
Well, we have a
what we're saying is, what we're doing, the difference between us and Ron McDonald and Dr. Bose is we're backing up what we're saying. When we say something, we show the evidence. Ron McDonald has showed no evidence in his report, and neither is Dr. Bose.
And Ron McDonald obviously has now left. He's no longer with the Serious Incident Response Team, or CERT. His replacement right now, or interim replacement, is John Scott. And I'm looking here at a release from your lawyer, Ray Wagner, who says you're also requesting a meeting now with John Scott. But when I talked to John, this was a couple of months back. He was really not familiar at all with the story behind Clayton's death. So, have you heard back from him yet either?
No, we haven't. No, not yet. But I want to get a little bit back to Brian McDonald. With Ron McDonald, he didn't even interview this man.
This is the man who said that he led the search in the days after Clayton disappeared.
Yes, and what I wanted out there is that when Mary Ellen McIntyre interviewed him, this man is very reliable. He's credible, and he knows nothing about a search for an 80-some-year-old man with the last name Miller in May of 1990. So for Brian McDonald to be involved in that search, he would have had to been the coordinator, and they would have had to search the brook. And he doesn't even remember that search.
Well, again, every now and again, just when you think that this case is going to, fade into the vaults, something pops up to keep this alive. Maureen, do you think you're ever going to get the answers?
Yes, we do, definitely. And we're now involved with a forensic pathologist from outside the country. We're involved with a forensic lab in Europe. And what they're doing is the job that Dr. Bose was supposed to do.
But haven't you done, didn't we have, three, if I recall correctly, three full-scale kind of re-looks at this whole case, and at all three occasions, they came up with the same conclusion that Clayton died of asphyxiation.
Yes, but that is according to what you want to listen to Dr. Butt, who was the chief medical examiner who was involved before he became chief medical examiner. He was brought in here to when Clayton was exhumed. And we've been trying to get Clayton's information from him. He's not returning any correspondence back to our lawyer, nothing. It's like he thinks he's above the law. So does Dr. Bose, and so does Ron McDonald.
I'm sure it's very frustrating as you believe that your son's death, that New Waterford police had a role in Clayton's death, and yet, as you mentioned, here we are 28 years later, and you're still looking for answers. Well,
I'll tell you this. Back in 1990, when Dr. Gajani did the autopsy, what he came out with first was Clayton died from asphyxiation. In 1992, who was the chief medical examiner at the time was Roland Perry. Unknowns to us until we got the files, we found out that he sent Clayton's tissue samples over to the VG hospital to have them examined by a Dr. Janikin, who was a forensic pathologist. Dr. Janikin said it was asphyxiation. When we dealt with the forensic pathologist and the university professor whose specialty is the lungs, they came back and said that Clayton died from asphyxiation.
But you're not buying that?
Yes, we are, because that's what asphyxiation, strangulation.
Oh, okay. The asphyxiation at the hands of police, you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Maureen, again, I applaud your conviction and your determination here, and hopefully that someday you'll get answers to your questions, and we'll keep in touch.
Well, what we're hoping for is that Lena Dieb will agree to meet with us and listen to what we have to say, and we will show her the proof of what we're saying. We're backing it up.
Well, hopefully you'll hear a response from her sooner than later. Maureen, as always, thank you for your time here, and we'll, again, keep in touch on this case.
Okay, thank you very much, Rick.
Thanks, Maureen. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Maureen Miller and the mother of Clayton Miller, the young man, the 17-year-old who died back in 1990. And again, his parents, Maureen and Gervais Miller believe that New Waterford police played a role in Clayton's death.